I'm Derwin Sisnett. I'm the CEO of Gestalt Community Schools, which is a charter management organization here in Memphis, Tennessee. We actually came to Memphis about 7 years ago. Got a gig teaching part-time at a community college. While I was there, I moved up in the ranks a little bit. I started working in administration, still teaching part-time. And then I got a call from a local community development corporation who wanted to start a charter school. And then in 2008, we opened the school. We had some great funders outside of Memphis and within Memphis that said, you know what, we like your model. We think it works. Power Center Academy's had some early successes. You guys are known as the highest performing middle school in the state of Tennessee. Can you do this over and over and over again? And you know, with my helpless ambition, I said, yes, we can do it over and over and over again. And teamed up with Yetta Lewis, who was a founding principal. Together we formed Gestalt Community Schools. People always ask us what the name means. It's basically a German word which means something that can't be defined by the sum of its parts. It's more than just a community plus education. It's about the relationship that exists between the two. I think a lot of people would rather go into a community, redevelop it, then add some educational institutions to it that are strong and suited for, you know, a thriving environment. For us, we look at it the other way. If the education isn't there, then people will leave and you can't bring businesses into that community. And I want our scholars to grow up being leaders. I want them to be the game changers of the world. I want them to be the next Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or Bill Cosby. I want them to be the ones to say, this happened because I had such a positive education. I remember my parents came home one day after a third grade parent-teacher conference, and they said, your teacher said you're a ringleader. And I thought, oh, that's a good thing, right? And they said, yeah, but you weren't necessarily using your powers for good, right? You were, people followed you, but you didn't always lead them in the right direction. So then you fast forward to when I was in middle school. Again, I was on the edge. I didn't know if I wanted to be smart or if I wanted to get into trouble. And I remember my guidance counselor pulled me aside and said, if you wanted to, you could rule the world. And she just left it at that. And I thought, what does that mean, And when I thought about it some more, she basically was saying the same thing my third grade teacher told my parents and my parents told me, use your powers for good. So the kind of impact that I think I want to have on our scholars and in this community is the same thing. How do we leave this city better than we found it? How do we use our powers for good? When we started, our first school, my wife and I didn't have kids. Now I have a 17-month-old who, now as we develop more schools, I'm thinking, what will her experience be like? Before it was just about everybody's kids. Now it's about everybody's kids and my kid. Memphis is community. Memphis is, this big city with a small hometown feel. And I have friends from back home, from New York, that wonder, they ask when I'm coming back home, right? When are you coming back to New York? How long are you gonna be in Memphis? And, my typical response is I live home. I am at home. And it's weird, I was born and raised in Queens, New York, but I feel more at home in Memphis than I've ever felt in New York.